Hey guys, we're back again here working on my Iroc Camaro. One thing I'm going to try to tackle today is this tack right here. The tack is always pegged. Sometimes when you start the car up, the needle will move a little bit and go back all the way over in red line. I don't know what the problem is. A lot of things I've read online and videos I've watched said that there is a little chip back there, like a little circuit board that goes on the back of these things. So I ordered one from Cajun Tach Shop. I think I got it for like 50 or 55 bucks. I'm going to put it on there today and see if it fixes my problem. I'm kind of going to walk you through it step by step. But the first thing you got to do, you got some T10 bolts here. I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 8 of these little T10s. So that's the first thing you got to do is take those out and then lift this plate out. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, guys, you can see I got the face plate out. Okay. Set it over here. Now, you are supposed to have some screws right here. I think 7/32, I believe. But obviously somebody's been in this thing before, because I don't have a single 7/32 screw in this plate here. So you're just simply going to lift your little glass plate out of there. I'll definitely have to get me some small screws to go back in there. Okay. Now, next thing you should have to take off, they should be screws holding this plate in. Well, guess what? No screws. Somebody did not put the screws back in here. That kind of uneases me a little bit, because that means somebody's been in here before, and I don't know why. Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of lift this one out of here, get it out of the way. There's my metal plate out of the way, and then you can see here's your tachometer. Okay, your tachometer. It looks like you're gonna have, look, what do you know? Missing a screw. I've got 2 little screws here I got to take out. When you take these 2 screws out, you should be able to pull on this tack and pull it straight out. We'll be back. All right, guys, we got those 7/32 screws out of here. So you should be able to grab hold of your tack and pull straight out. It pulled out very easily. Now, this right here is what I'm going to be replacing in just a moment. Also, this is a good time for you to check your lights. I do think I got a few lights that might be out. Right now, doesn't look like any of my lights are working. So I think I've got a short somewhere. So that's something I need to check into, because I don't have any lights that's working right now. So I'm going to check on that, and I'll walk you through on how to put this new chip on the back of the tack. All right, guys, I'm here getting ready to put the new circuit board on the back of this. Here's the directions. This is from Cajun Tach Shop. The directions are amazing. Based on their directions, I realized that I'm missing 8 instrument cluster lens bolts, 7/32 socket. Kind of uneases me a little bit that I think somebody's been in this cluster before. Maybe it was to try to fix the tack, and why they didn't put these 8 instrument cluster 7/32 bolts back in there, I don't know, but I'm going to run to Lowe's and pick some of those up before I put it all back together. So I've done all these steps. I'm on step 7. I love these directions. You can see that I'm going to remove, they tell you exactly which bolts you're going to remove, or nuts, and they tell you exactly how to put everything back together. So I'm going to take the new circuit board out of the pack, get it installed on here, and then put it back in the car and see if it fixes my problem. Okay, guys, I got the new circuit board installed. Here's the old one. It fit in perfect. The only problem I did run into is underneath your resistor right here. There's 2 more nuts there you got to take off that it didn't say in the description, and it says it's 1/4-inch nuts, but I actually had to use, I think, a 5/16. So I had to use a 5/16 to get them off of there. Don't really know why that was different, but I'm going to install it in the car now. Should push right back in, and we're going to see if it takes care of the tachometer problem. All right, guys, we're going to see if it fixes my problem. I am noticing that when I turn my headlights on, my gauges die out for some reason. That's another problem I'm going to have to look at. But let's see if this fixed our problem here. All right, as you can see, seems to be working right. The car should idle about 1100. It is. One of the problems I am having, and I don't know why, it just all of a sudden started today, is my temperature hand's not reading right. And then I also noticed when I turn my headlights on, all my gauges just go haywire. Turn them off, they semi start to work right again. So not sure what's going on with that. That'll be another time. All right, guys, I'm back. I believe I figured out why my gauges weren't working a moment ago and they were going crazy and haywire. It's because I didn't have the cluster panel pushed in there fair enough. Where I'd been doing some work on it, it kind of dislodged a little bit. So once I pushed it back in there, all my gauges started working again like they should. One thing I did notice is when I pull my headlights here, I've got some bulbs that are out. You can see my blinker bulb doesn't work on this side. Okay, so I got some bulbs that's out. Now, one trick you can do is you can take a piece of fuel hose. This is 3/8 inch fuel hose. So instead of having to take all this instrument panel out, you can just push this in there and push it over top of the bulbs and pull straight out. And then when you put the bulbs back in, you do it the same way. You push them back in and then you rotate it counterclockwise. If you rotate it counterclockwise, it'll lock itself back into position. So we'll try it with this one to see if it'll work. So I'm going to push it in here. Push it down on the bulb and pull. As you can see, the bulb came right out. So you'll just do that in reverse order for the rest of them. All right, guys, last video. As you can see, I got everything back together. Turn signal lights seem to be working great. All my dash lights are working. I did have to take my fuel gauge out to get to one of the bulbs, and it's acting a little funky, but it is a floating gas hand anyways. But I've got everything back together, and everything seems to be working great. The circuit board from Cajun Tach Shop, it fixed my tach problem. Make sure the car doesn't roll here. So it took care of most of the, it definitely took care of that problem. So I got everything back together. I'm super happy with the way things turned out. I believe the fuel gauge will start reading correctly because I do have a full tank of gas. It's reading a little bit past full. I do think it will start reading right once I take the car for a spin. But I'm going to tackle putting all these wires back together. In my last video, I talked about, one of them was the install. So I've got everything ready. I taped all the wires off. I've already hooked the stereo up. It works great. I'm going to butt connect everything and get all that back in there.